What's up, guys? We need to talk. I know last week I said that I wanted to record and release an episode every week, but I don't know if I can do that. It's just, it's so draining and time consuming, and honestly, I might be leaving the podcast scene altogether because I just, I, I, I just don't think I'm made for it. I I've dedicated almost 2 years of my life to this podcast, to you guys, to bring you content, make you laugh, share about my life, and I think it's time that we part ways. So, this episode I guess will be my last hurrah. I'm kidding. Who are we kidding? You really thought I was gonna go? You really thought I was gonna leave this podcast? Are you kidding me? This is the only thing that brings me joy when it comes to content creation. Are you kidding? I'm never leaving. We're gonna make it to episode 1,000 in this podcast. The Joe Rogan Experience, pff, Impulsive, pff, the TMG podcast, pff, all of those podcasts that where they rewatch TV shows. Pff, this is the pretty decent podcast, okay? We're never leaving. We're never dying, okay? I might be 70 years old. 70 years old, and I'll still be making this podcast. You know what? I might pass away. My son will carry on with this podcast. My grandson will carry on with this podcast. Maybe it'll be my daughter if I don't have a son. Maybe it'll be a granddaughter if I don't have a grandson. But I don't care. The pretty decent legacy will live on forever. For as many years and days as we can count past from I don't know English because English is not my first language, but I just know that this podcast will never die. What's up? Welcome to the Pretty Decent Podcast, the podcast that barely meets expectations. My name is Javier, and I'll be your host. So relax, grab some snacks, and enjoy. All right, now let's get to the episode. Anyway, what's up, guys? Welcome back. I know you guys are surprised because I'm actually back 2 weeks in a row. I think the last time that happened, I was recording in my college dorm back in Peoria. The good old days. Oh my god. I don't know why, but this windowsill is bringing me back to when I first started recording because my college dorm used to have one exactly like that one. But I know it's not the typical recording setting. I wanted to change it up a little bit because the lighting over in the other side of this wall that you definitely don't see is ass. And right now you can see how much I'm sweating because my house is hot as balls. But it's because I have all the thermostats up to like 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Because I don't want my pipes to freeze. Because, the polar vortex winter, whatever you want to call it, was happening. And yeah, but we're back. I feel like I was recapping and rethinking on the past episode. And I guess if we have new audience members, what's up? My name is Javier, and I'm the host of this podcast. So I'm glad you're here. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have some snacks. Maybe you're commuting to work. Who knows? That's actually a real thing. I didn't know that was a real thing until 2 years ago when I graduated college. But yeah, this week was fairly interesting. Today is Saturday. I did a 10K on a treadmill, which, Personally, I don't like treadmills, but I'd rather run on a treadmill than get frostbite. So I did a 10K on a treadmill. It was fine, except from the fact that the treadmill that I started running on, the belt came loose. So I tripped and I got like, is it rug burn? Whatever it's called, when like your skin just like, you know? So I have that on my leg. It kind of hurts a little bit, but after that, I finished the run in another treadmill. It was fine. Definitely lost my groove, but I definitely left my mark on the other treadmill because there was definitely some skin left on the belt, and you know, it's not a long run if you don't chafe your legs or some part of your body, because my shorts kept creeping up and everything and like on my inner thighs just chafed. And when I showered, I screamed. I screamed, I scrammed. I was like, because it was just so bad. It really hurt. So I just, I need to remember to put my anti-chafe thingy right in that area. But overall, the week was similar to how the past 2 months have been, just working to the bone, making it back from work, being tired, falling asleep on the couch, waking up an hour and a half later, realizing, oh, it's too dark and too cold to get a run in, and I don't want to go to bed too late. So, it's just that whole cycle of being tired all the time. But I'm actively trying to get a better routine, to establish a better routine. I am aware, thank God, that the weather is gonna be a lot better next week, so I'll be able to do more running outside. But it's just I I need to get better at going to bed early and waking up early. But it's that phenomenon, that since I can't control many things in my life, and my bedtime is one of the few things I can control, I stay up late. But then I end up paying for it the next day, and progressively I start going to bed later and waking up later. So then I on Friday, for example, I didn't eat breakfast because I was running too late. So I had to get breakfast at work. So, I love that. But yeah, this week I also found out, it's a major, I guess this episode's going to be a major throwbacks episode, because if you remember, probably it was before 30 episodes. I don't remember when I started, when like the graduation episode was, but if you're a long time listener, thank you. And if you're not, go listen to every previous episode to catch up on my life and understand all that trauma that I have. But pretty much, I think I mentioned that I was doing my senior project back in those glorious days when I was recording in my college dorm. I was a naive 21-year-old, with long hair, definitely looked so handsome, rocking beanies like a rock star, rocking the man bun like there was no tomorrow, and still being so naive because I let myself get played by a girl. But anyway, so I kind of talked back in those episodes about doing senior project. And funny enough, I'm on the other side of senior project this year because I'm helping Bradley students in their senior project. So it's gonna be like that proud dad moment, like seeing them succeed. And like I'm definitely gonna help them not do the things I did in my senior project. I've been working for almost 2 years. I've been an engineer for a year and a half. 2 years removed from my senior project, and I've learned so much. Like, I don't know what I've learned, but I definitely know I've learned something. Probably how to work as a group, and how I pretty much had to do everything in the group. But hey, it landed me a job, and here I am in beautiful small town in Illinois. Because we still keep our location a secret, unless we live in LA. But I don't live in LA. I'm still in Illinois, or Texas. I someday I'll move to Austin or Dallas someday. I just hate the snow so much. But anyway, but yeah, it was interesting, being on the other side where I'm the one helping them. Well, they are helping us, but we help them help us pretty much. And that within itself was pretty interesting because I was where they were, and it's crazy to think that I still look like I could be in college, but I'm almost 2 years removed from college, and I still can't wrap my head around that because I know I look young. I don't look like I'm 23, but I'm faking it until I make it, I guess. And it's just interesting because I was talking to them, and I was like, we were talking about how Bradley is doing as a school, and like how we believe that it won't be too long before just like pretty much the school goes belly up, and because they're just doing a terrible job. Like, they were telling me that I think it's their graduating class is one of the smallest ones that they had in years, or like the freshman class was one of the smallest ones that they've had in years. And that's due to all of the cuts that they're doing, and like how everyone's unhappy with all of the cuts, which, it's fair because it sucks. It just goes on to show how the education system is just a financial thing and a business. And it was just interesting because, we were talking about how like living in the dorms and like how I was an RA, and one of them was like, "Oh, you remember this person?" I was like, "Oh yeah, like so and so," and they're like, "Yeah, they used to be my RA." I was like, damn, I'm old. Immediately I just started feeling back pain. I was like, back, my knees, my ankles. It's definitely not from running, it's from the age. But yeah, it was nice seeing how energetic they were, and just how passionate they were, because I was exactly like that when I started my senior project. And one of the things that I told them, I was like, look, I'm here to help you succeed. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made, because then I ended up paying the price further down the road. So I'm going to help you succeed. And it's good that they want to work, because that's always a plus. And I just found it interesting that like being able to see how soon to be college graduates feel or think about the world when you are looking from the perspective of someone that has been part of the world for 2 years now, and how everything is just like how college is like this bubble, and then the real world is just on a whole different spectrum compared to college. Like, just, like, just the way they carry themselves is like these kids don't, I call them kids when I'm just like 5 years older than them, and I'm like, whoa, no, not five, 2 years older. When I'm just 2 years older than them, and I'm like, these kids don't know what's coming to them. They don't know what it's like to be in the real world, and like, they'll learn on their own, just like I did when I graduated college. But it's fun. I definitely, I think it rejuvenated me when it comes to work, because I started to hit this like point in my job where I'm just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. It's just frustrating. It's exhausting. I feel like I'm not going anywhere. But this kind of like gave me, I guess, another like breath of fresh air, I guess you could say, like that. And I mean, I'm going back to Peoria tomorrow for the day. I definitely don't think I'm going to Bradley campus, but it's just, I guess it's gonna be a weekend of throwbacks. Because when was the last time? Last time I went to Peoria was in December to meet up with my friends. Yeah, it was before Christmas. It was, yeah, the weekend of Christmas. But overall, I mean, sorry, I'm looking at the time. I'm just making sure I still have enough time. But overall, no, I mean, I'm definitely working on trying to be a lot more thankful for the stuff, even when the going gets rough, but still working on being thankful for the things I have, because there's people in worse situations. And it's just all about perspective, but I'm excited for this coming week. Tomorrow I get to watch the Iron Claw, so next week's episode is gonna be jam packed with Zac Efron, and just how much I cried after I watched Iron Claw. But it's just, I don't know. I guess going back to the whole thing of being thankful, even when the going gets rough, it's definitely something that just doesn't happen overnight. Because I don't know, like the way that the world is right now, and I don't mean to Kid Cudi this episode, but the way that the world is right now it's so messed up. Like, living in the age of the internet is so hard, because it's so easy to get lost in everything. Like, I hate that when I get home from work, I spend so much time on my phone, because at work I just don't really use my phone except on my lunch break, like to use social media. But even then, I don't really use it that much, because I have shitty internet at work. And most of the time when I use my phone at home is to watch YouTube videos, because that's how I just get my content. So I just wish I didn't spend so much time in it. And next week I'm gonna actively work on getting more in touch with myself and reading more reading more nonfiction stuff, more fiction stuff, just like to get my brain working, because I feel like just using the phone gives me brain rot. Like, I feel myself getting dumber every day. Like, I have so much brain fog that it's scary. That it wakes me up at night, because I'm just like, out of nowhere, I just get these like random impulses of remembering stuff at night that I have to do, but then the next morning I forget, and I don't know what I remembered, of like literally a few hours ago. So I don't know, maybe I should get my brain checked. I mean, I know I have to get a physical done, but maybe I should get my brain checked, because I'm curious to see just like how messed up my brain is, just from like all the trauma and stuff, because I know that trauma affects your brain performance. And disclaimer, when I talk about trauma, I don't mean about like family trauma. Like, I did not have a troubled childhood or anything, and I'm thankful for that. It's more on like the relationship trauma, okay? Which, funny enough, working with the Bradley students on senior project kind of like brought up some of that trauma back again. And TikTok also brings up that trauma back again, and it pisses me off, because they're such a shitty person. But anyway, no, and another thing that I've been just thinking about lately is just how, like, always online and stuff, you hear this of like, it's okay. It's not that it's okay, but like, let me phrase this properly, because I don't want to get controversial. But I guess this is one of the questions, actually. Remember that Q&A from like a year ago, a year and a half ago, from when I first started? It was like one of like, what is one controversial thing you believe in, or something like that. And I was like, one of the controversial things, and it's something that I've been thinking of pretty much since that question. I just never really addressed it. It's that, for some reason, like, with all of like cancel culture and everything, we never, like, society never says it's bad for a woman to call a man a bad person. But whenever a man calls a woman a bad person, the man is on the wrong, if that makes any sense. Like, it's like, it pretty much like, it makes it seem like a man cannot be the one that was hurt by the woman, if that makes any sense, because that happened to me many times has happened to me, actually. But it's always like, men cannot say that. If I'm saying this correct, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Like, you always hear on like internet, like women saying, like the interviews on the street, they're like, oh yeah, that guy, he's a piece of shit, blah 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 blah. And like, they're like, yeah, but then like, if a man were to say, yeah, that girl is a piece of shit, then everyone's like, no, you can't say that, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's a double standard. Like, I guess double standards is one of the things that really frustrates me all the time. It's because, like, hey guys, editor Javi over here, and I just wanted to interrupt the episode for a little bit to elaborate and explain further what my thoughts were when I made those comments. What I was trying to elaborate was on the frustrations that I've experienced as a man trying to be a good person in the current state that the world is at the moment, where, you know, you're pretty much trying to break out of the stereotype of all men are shitty, all men are bad, when that's not the case. Because I know my friends, my brothers, my dad, my uncles, my cousins, I know a lot of good men out there, and it's frustrating when we're put into the same pool as the bad men that are out there. And I'm aware that, bad men should be brought out to light. I'm not saying that they're free to do whatever they want and keep doing bad things and hurting other people and stuff. It's just when I was out there, a single fish out in the ocean looking for a partner before I met my girlfriend, it was hard trying to break out of the thinking of, oh, he's a guy, all men are bad, when that's not the case. But what I was trying to say is, like, whenever a man has those preconceived thoughts on a woman because there's been a traumatic past, which applies to me, and I try not to do that, where I go with a preconceived notion as like all women are evil or whatever. It's like the man is on the wrong, but the woman is never looked down upon whenever they just assume that all men are bad. I hope that clarifies. I hope that clarifies my thoughts, because it's a very difficult thing to explain, especially when English is not my first language, and this is an actual thing. But I just wanted to say, like, pretty much, obviously it doesn't compare to the hardships that women have gone through and experienced throughout history and currently experience, because I've never had that preconceived notion of like all women are bad and like all women are evil or whatever, because I know a lot of great women out there, like my girlfriend, my mom, my sister, my aunts. There's a lot of great women out there, and I'm fully aware of that. But at the same time, there's also women that have hurt people that I know and have hurt me. So I just wanted to say that, keep that same energy. I'll say that further in the episode, but it's the same thing. That's all I wanted to say. So hopefully that clarifies. Hopefully I'm able to come back next week with a new episode. Okay, let's get back to the episode. Whee! Where's the equality, whatever? Obviously, sometimes, yes, I do understand. Most of the time, the man is the piece of shit, because us men, we are pieces of shit. Okay, I'm aware of that. Sometimes I'm a piece of shit to myself. Okay, I'm aware of that, but that doesn't mean that we can never get hurt by the other person. Okay, call me crazy, right? But I don't know. That's just something, for some reason, that I've been thinking about lately, because I've been watching like Cody Ko videos where it's like the woman rating the man based on like a car, for example, or like, yeah, that's the one that I can think of right now. But pretty much is like, for some reason, like every time I watch those videos, and it's not because of Cody Ko, it's just like, because I love Cody Ko, but it's more because of, like, I guess it's been rooted into society to, like, I guess it's okay for, not that it's okay, but it's like it's not looked down upon when, like pretty much all of men are put into this like same pool of like, yeah, all men are shitty. But when it's done for the women, we can't do that. And I'm not saying that all women are shitty, because I know a lot of great women out there, except for the ones that aren't, that I no longer talk to because they did wrong things to me. But it's just like, just thinking about it gives me a headache, because it's just, yeah, it's always, they always of my experiences where I've clearly, and this was proven by my therapist, I've been the one that was wronged. They always pointed the finger at me. And I'm like, whoa. Last I checked, it wasn't me. It was you. But hey, if I don't make it past this episode, now you know why. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I guess like I have been thinking a lot about my past lately. And even like one of the things that I've been thinking, well, I also watched the X-Men movie, the first one, which that one really, it's actually, I had never watched it. It was all right. Okay, the CGI was meh. Definitely doesn't withstand whatever time thingy that the phrase goes by. But yeah, like I don't know why, but I've been thinking a lot about just the past. And I guess like normally around the start of a new year, I tend to do that, especially reflecting on the past year. When it comes, I feel like a lot of the like, I hadn't realized how deep rooted we are as humanity, how deep rooted we are in just social relationships. Like back in school, obviously school took what, 70% of my time, and within school was like also the social relationships. But now it's like work has also come into the picture, but now it's like I have to be more selective where my social energy goes, because like obviously work is more draining, and I don't have like infinite amounts of time to invest in infinite amounts of people. But I just think that I think it's healthy to think about the past, because you're never going to learn and be a better person if you're not able to learn from your past mistakes. And I don't know why, but it's just I'm always like the whole thing with senior project right now, a lot of things resurfaced, and that's like pretty much why I went on that whole rant about the double standards, because they made me feel like that, like I was the problem. But no, I wasn't. I was not the problem. They were. And I'm not saying that that's how it's always is with everyone. I'm just saying we can't just, in the words of Kendrick Perkins, keep that same energy, okay? Just keep that same energy. That's all I'm asking. That's how we're gonna live 2024. It's keeping that same energy. We're gonna keep that same energy for every circumstance. If you don't know what I mean by keeping that same energy, find out by yourself. Just keep that same energy. But I don't know. I feel like I've been ranting this whole episode because it's just, I don't know, like recording late at night makes me just be very vocal about the stuff that just keeps me up at night. Like I remember, well, when I was a young kid back in my day, before I had a cell phone of my own, before the internet was a thing, before social media was a thing, me and my family and I, sorry, I do know English sometimes. My family and I would go to Florida pretty much at least once a year because we have family there. And we would always go to the same mall every year without fault. And I would remember going to the movies, and whenever I would go to the movies, there was one specific comic book store. And that comic book store was massive. I remember it was big. I think it was almost, I would say, as big as my house. And my house is pretty big. Like, not like a mansion big, but it's pretty big. Like, it's decent. It's a pretty decent house, But pretty much, I remember, like, there would be all of these, like, displays with comics, all of them. And I think that's when, like, my fascination for comic books as an art started, because I would just, like, grab them and just, like, like, look at the artwork. And, like, for example, that's why Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, it seems so perfect to me. Or, like, like how Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, why I like it so much, because of, like, the art, like, just, like, the art that was put into the movie. Like, that's why I like animation so much, because it's just, like, a such an interesting way to tell a story. And, like, when you look at comic books, like, the way that the characters are drawn is meant to help explore and unravel the story through indirect methods. Damn, I have such a big brain. But pretty much, I remember the walls in that store were gray, the white lights, just beaming down. And every time, like, whenever we go to the mall and, like, we were waiting to go into the movie, because, like, my family is we are gonna be there early so that, we can have time, and, like, we're not rushing, right? So whenever, like, we'd have a lot of time to waste, pretty much, I would go to that store. And I vividly remember, there was this, I guess, like, it was like a collectible statue of Daredevil. And I think it was called The Death of Elektra. If you don't know, Elektra is supposed to be Daredevil's romantic partner, and if you don't know Daredevil, he's the blind superhero, like, when he was a kid, he had an accident and some chemicals fell in his eyes, and then, like, it hyper heightened all of his senses, and pretty much he's able to see without actually seeing with his eyes, which is crazy. But let me see if I can find, because I know there's a comic book, called Death of Elektra, but it was this one. Where is it? This one? No, it was one that he was holding her in his arms. Holding her in his arms. And I always found it so, I think that was, like, the first one where I was like, I didn't know superheroes could die, you know, like it wasn't until like I got older and I started diving into comic books that's actually very common for the writers to just kill off a superhero. But I don't know, there was always something about that statue, that like little collectible, I guess, that always grabbed my attention. I always gravitated towards going to that one. And I think that's when I also found out about the whole Marvel Zombies comic books. Because like the way that like the zombies was spelled was always very interesting, and like just like the cover of it, I believe had like Captain America, and like his jaw was like and like just like falling apart and everything. And I always found that, like, I think I was like probably like 9 years old, 10 years old probably. And it just always like I always found it so interesting. And like now that I have a little bit of money to myself, I try to like get into comic books. Like this one I didn't buy with my own money, but my parents, for Christmas, they sent me the graphic novel / comic book from The Last Ronin from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which, if you don't know what that is, you clearly live under a rock and you're not cool, because all the cool kids know that The Last Ronin from the TMNT comics kicks ass. I was going to say rules and then rocks, but then I had to say kicks ass because it definitely kicks ass. And like the art, it just, I hadn't realized how much of like I know I'm a nerd and I'm a geek, like the stereotypical geek. But I'm like a hot geek, like I'm not like, I don't have BO, I shower. I clean myself up, so I'm not like the typical geek, but I like nerding out about my stuff. And I guess that's why I like my girlfriend, because she likes when I nerd out about stuff, because I nerd out about a lot of stuff, like running, like the Ninja Turtles, like Spider-Man, like superheroes, movies, a lot of things, engineering, which is crazy because I don't really like talking about engineering, but I am an engineer. I don't know. It's late. I'm tired. I guess, we're 40 minutes. I think we're good to go. Okay. We're gonna end it right there. Hey, I kept my promise. I'm here. Two episodes into the year. I'm here. I think I might stay. I think my head hurts because of the light, because it's like beaming, like it's like right there, and it's like just like making my eyes hurt a lot. And it's like, this is probably like the room with the most light in the entire house. And yeah, sorry, I'm tired. I'm a tired boy. I'm so sleepy. I could literally just, I made the mistake of drinking some hot chocolate before this, and now I'm so comfortable that I could just, even though this chair is very uncomfortable. But yeah, like I said, keep that same energy. I'm gonna keep that same energy. And I guess like I didn't mean to, if I offended anyone, I did not intend to offend anyone. I just had thoughts. I explained my thoughts, and my thoughts are based on my experiences and what I see. So everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and we're gonna leave it at that. But anyway, yeah, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll I'll see you guys next week. Maybe. Of course. I'm gonna see you guys next week. Okay. Like, what do you think this is? You think I'm just gonna bail on you like that? No, I'm not like that. Because I keep that same energy. All right. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Peace.